game. I think the Yuumi Seraphine likely in isolation until 6 when these junglers decide to go down there and lock down those targets. But until then, I think topside's where the focus will be. Renekton Fiora, I mean, that's just a lot of trading in that lane. Both junglers need to hover around.
RNG fighting to lock their spot in the top two, fighting to lock their spot in the quarterfinals. 100 Thieves fighting for their lives. Every single game must be won today. They got one already over the Oysters. Already made the impossible possible just a little bit, but RNG, a titanic opponent. Can 100 Thieves bring it back? Can they find another win on the day? Pressure on that man on your screen, most certainly. The Jarvan has to impact the early game, the scaling battle. We've seen what it means when there's a Sivir Yuumi in the game. She feels like an inevitability. If 100 Thieves cannot shut this composition down from RNG, they will be run over.
And as Kedra pointed out at the start of the day, this is a team that has consistently been at the top of North American League of Legends. Now going up against the MSI champions, they need to bring it home for North America.
They really do, and this RNG comp, we've seen something very similar in the first day of groups. I believe it was T1 running this exact comp, except with Lee Sin jungle, and they just destroyed EDG with it. Maybe RNG was watching that game and saying, can pull something off similar here if we get the Yuumi first pick. 5 points on both sides on the level 1, no real invades coming in, no bot lane wards just yet. So it might be a slow game in the early stages.
Certainly could be. Keeping our eyes on FBI and Hui as well, seeing what they can do to stop Gala and Ming from getting any CS, limiting their ability to scale up in this game. But as highlighted, jungler's really going to be everything in this one. Closer especially.
I think we're going to be looking at a lot of action around this top side, especially when you look at the likes of the Renekton. The way this matchup plays, it's so much around the stun coming through from Sunday, and if you can get the riposte. So a lot of agency on Sunday's side. But Breathe at the early stages, at least getting some good trades in there for the get-go.
That stinks, doesn't it? The Renekton getting a little bit chunked out. So Closer is solo starting on his red here. I wonder what his pathing will look like. You can be creative and do something like red, EQ over the Nash wall, and then look for the enemy blue buff. But this ward right here is so good because it spots both angles. If Closer goes over here or goes around here, that ward will spot both. So good ward from RNG to cover off any kind of cross maps. Thieves pinging the ward, maybe knowing it's around.
Yep, Tri-Brush covered as well for any potential level 2 cheese. Will instead just turn his attention towards Raptors. And right now, Breathe, monstering someday. And this is such a brutal lane because if you ever have a Vital proc remotely facing the Fiora, it just feels impossible to win trades in the early level.
So a bit confused at the moment because Closer is actually pathing bot. Unless he goes Gromp into backtracking towards top, then his Renekton is going to be very vulnerable to dives if Wei rushes to level 3 and Breathe can stack waves. See what he chooses to do though.
I'm wondering if they're going to try and set up some sort of play with Abadage here, right? You've already got the push coming in on bot side. Closer could be there. If you crash this wave with the slow push that you have, maybe they just look to go for a dive on the bottom side early. But, I mean, with the Senna Seraphine, you don't have a huge amount of damage, so it would be a little bit messy. We'll have to see exactly what the plan is.
Someday safe for now. The wave crash while Wei is on his Gromp, so he'll be very happy with that. Abadage in this range matchup should have the early push and the early trade advantage, like you said, if he wants to look around the map. Hui and FBI keeping the bot wave in, and now Closer and Wei have dinged over to level 3. What's the option then? Closer looks like he's hovering on a backtrack, just finished the blue, gonna go towards the wolves, and Wei finishing up on his camps too. Abadage is gonna get a little bit of vision in the enemy jungle.
See Wei moving down. Abadage getting that vision as you highlighted, and continuing to trade aggressively with Xiaohu as much as he can. Getting those first strike procs, trying to scale more and more. Level 6, of course, for this lane gets a lot more volatile. Someday hitting level 3, crucial for the Renekton. Now he can actually start to trade. Now he can actually start to fight back. Both champions with all their skills unlocked now means we finally get to the skill portion of the skill matchup.
Closer going to hover around on this bottom side still, though. Has full cleared, so moving back down to where he has the push to make sure he doesn't run into Wei, because with the control that Breathe had, could have been a bit of an uncomfortable situation. And just now following up on the vision that already was placed by Abadage, just trying to spot out exactly where Wei is on these early stages, and even steal away the Krugs on this bottom side.
Well, Wei moving up to the top side. Really have to try and push the advantage if they want to go for the dive here. Someday with full fury ready to go. Burning it just to get a little bit of health back. Definitely not an ideal use of the empowered Cole the Meek.
So RNG gonna take away the Krugs. Both junglers have done the exact same pathing. Now Breathe could try to crash this wave if they want to look for a dive. Closer is around bot if they want to look for a dive, but FBI gets chucked out. I think that's going to be a called off dive. So we expected action on both sides depending on jungle pathing, but Wei will find Someday a bit.
Taking Krugs in the meantime, but if this wave gets stacked in, you can see already that Someday's backing off here. It has to be very, very careful.
bit confused of the game plan because the Renekton was picked into the Fiora, so you're basically saying we are going to match you in aggression topside. They're not actually indexing on it too much, closer path away from it. Maybe they said in Champ Select, well, we lose 2v2 early, let's wait till level 6, that's when we can start winning the 2v2. So we'll see what Closer does on the second rotation. Clear Someday, though.
Good play from Someday. Level 5 for Breeze. Someday not going to try to push there, but gets the parry out, doesn't burn the stun.
I mean, for Breed, that's actually a pretty good trade, right? You have held Someday, who's just returned to lane off the TP. Breed will get to reset and come back into lane himself with that health advantage, even be able to pick up a couple of pots. So, good trade for Breed when he already wanted to go for that reset regardless.
FBI already out of lane. He's going to pick up some souls here as Wei now steps forward. Root now coming in. Closer already used the flag, so doesn't have the opportunity to follow up there. Xiaohu's forced out of lane, at least for now, in mid.
Really nice counter jungle here by Closer. Has the Raptor timing, knows the vibe pathing was the exact same as his. Calls FBI from base to go match with him and gets a ward on the entrance as well. So a lot of vision for the bot side of 100 Thieves. Now Closer's just going to cover his own Raptors, but Wei sneaking towards Abadage here.
Abadage, no mana. 1, 2, 3. And then big damage coming in. Abadage forced to flash away. Devastating.
Xiaohu missed the shuriken flip, so actually wasn't able to follow up on the play. And you see with the help bar that Abadage had, that could have been this. Now Wei using that pressure in mid lane to try and invade himself. The Closer will be able to steal away a good amount of them, but a mistake from Xiaohu there means they don't get the kill.
Yeah, that should have been a kill for RNG. Wei held it perfectly, just the shuriken wasn't in time. Maybe Xiaohu a little bit too far away, so Abadage just basically sidestepped it in the end and then decided to flash away a little bit later on. So here's Closer on this top side, has the pickaxe, but just covering Someday's push out. Things over to the level 6, pink ward in the river won't spot Closer as his bot camps are spawning, bot crab spawning. They probably want to maintain a little bit of this bot side vision, and Dragon is up, so Someday probably going to crash these waves and take a base.
So many of these early plays feel so high stakes now. Abadage has to be very, very careful. Xiaohu has ticked over to level 6. You can already see him giving the Akali so much more respect in the laning phase. Xiaohu as well, not opting for any MR. Doesn't need to worry about it too much at the stage, instead opting for Pen. So really wants to try to find these early kills, these early plays. And Breeze just now ticking over to 6 on the top side of the map.
What I will say is this bot matchup's going pretty well for 100 Thieves. The Senna Seraphine has the push, they've got a plate up a little bit in creeps, keeping the Sivir under wraps, which allows Closer to get this bot crab uncontested. He has a little bit of bot push to work with if he chooses to, and level 6 it'll only really get better for the Seraphine when she has a little bit more kill pressure and setup for the Jarvan. Just maintaining this push makes it so there's no real threat of roams towards mid. Of course, Yuumi quite weak in that regard, but keeping your eyes, keeping your tracks on them means that the Vi can't team up with the Yuumi, and Wei's just going to cycle through his next camps on the bot side.
But it feels like, at least on both sides, you're still waiting for these junglers to really get involved. Wei kind of leaning down towards the spot side to see if he can work with Gal and Ming, but they will have to go for a reset of themselves, but could try and use the Dragon, or at least pick up the Dragon now that they have that bot push if they want to. Also, at least a push in mid for the moment, but I think the big winner here is going to be Breed in these side lanes. Massive CS lead, getting full control against Someday, because Closer hasn't really paid attention to it. And when we talked about RNG's game plan being, we want to play through side lanes, we want to try and use this big Fiora, it's at least starting off relatively well.
Certainly is Wei going to get that red buff just in time. He's going to go with the blast cone. Closer. Ooh, Wei spots him out. They know something's afoot. FBI in the area too. That's one very squishy Senna. But they're not going to go for the play there.
Yeah, Wei thinking about it, but not enough backup. Ming is on the way to match up with the Vi, so they will pair up and look for some kind of bot side vision. Top wave stacking into Someday. Won't net them anything. Now, 100 Thieves don't actually know where RNG's jungler is, but because FBI has moved up here and Huhi has got bot wave in, they're going to start up this Herald. Breed has the top push, so he'll be around for the next few seconds while Someday catches that wave. Ming is here. Wei very close to that level 6. I wonder if he gets it off this mid wave. If he does, they could look for an engage, but if he doesn't have that level 6 ultimate, it becomes very hard to face check.
FBI hiding in the mist. Makes it hard for Vi if she does get the ultimate to lock him down. They're trying to burn through this Herald. Big confidence inside 100 Thieves. Taking that Herald down is massive for this early game.
And I don't think RNG really wanted to fight that. They were just like, hey, as long as we can force you to commit members to this, we can actually get Gala to take the 2 plates on bot side. And a really good job actually from 100 Thieves so far in controlling vision around this bottom half of the map. It meant that they had basically a clean walkway up for Huhi, so he couldn't get picked off by Wei, by Xiaohu, even with Ming as well. So far, 100 Thieves doing a good job of keeping things in check and keeping it nice and slow and trying to play more for those team fights.
You can see right now, 700 gold lead. Wei just now taking over to level 6, wants to kick the fight off, wants to lock down Closer, wants to get the chain CC, but they've locked him in the gravity field. He's gone invincible, but now Xiaohu trying to clean up on the backside. FBI so squishy, but the ultimate stopping him. Gallo leaping forward, FBI running for his life. Can he gank it out? No. go. Xiaohu on the chase. There's got to be no way. Still standing for now. The lockdown, not nearly enough. And Gala making a montage with the rest of them.
Gala finally gets onto the map with RNG and they pick up the kills. 2 for Xiaohu, 1 for the AD carry. And just like that, RNG swing the goal back to even.
Really good decisiveness there from RNG to just pull the trigger way, leveling up off the big raptor on the smite. Just chooses to flash ult onto closer. It looked okay for 100 Thieves because it was a 1-for-1 and Abadage was the one who got the first blood, but it's Gala's move that shut them down and picked up those extra kills for RNG. Sivir now 1-0-1, 2 kills over to this Akali. 100 Thieves are doing a great job at leveraging their mid and bot push so they could get first to these objectives, but now kills in the Akali favor will hurt this mid matchup for Abadage.
And now we got to see how 100 Thieves want to try and bring this back in as well, because you do have that rift out on the bottom side. You know that RNG have just reset, so they may immediately just turn this over into either the Dragon or just trying to crack open a little bit more of these plates on bot end. But again, it feels like you should be trying to put a lot of these resources through your mid lane more so than the bot, just because if Abadage does get to that late game a bit quicker, that Victor can do a lot.
So smite on the Raptor, flash ult onto closer, actually gets the kill here, Abadage, the first blood, but you can see FBI went towards the bot wave because as they were doing the Herald, Gala pushed the wave in and was getting plates. FBI was forced to catch, and that means that there are a numbers disadvantage when Gala moves up this river. 2 kills to Xiaohu, 1 kill over to Gala as Abadage had no flash from earlier on.
Oh man.
Hits him with the pizza.
The New York special, baby, thin crust. Abadage, not a fan.
And now Gala's eating good on this bot side. Kraken Slayer already there for him. Now they start to move through as well. And look at where Vi is. Wei sitting in on this bot end as well. Wants to see if he can catch 100 Thieves as they move back into bot end.
It's interesting how 100 Thieves are still 300 gold up despite being down 2 kills. The Senna gold helping them out there. A couple plates in their favor. CS not super ahead in any specific lane, but able to tie up that gold nonetheless. They still have that Herald, 1/3 left on the timer, and Wei knows that Closer wants to place him on this bot side, so he's looking for him, fishing for information, but Gala has no flash, so 100 Thieves could look for a pick here as the Vi and Yumi are teamed up. The Sivir is isolated, but Abadage might be the one isolated.
Abadage needs to make his way out. That's one instantly flashing under the tower, laying down the guard to kill Xiaohu, looking for the follow-up, looking to land the shuriken flip. Abadage needs to make his way out, ult in, trying to get around through the minions, but it's not enough. Xiaohu taking him down. Victor ult will not finish Wei, and on the bottom side, the play falters as Gala will make it out.
Not even close. I suppose his Wei went very deep on that one with Xiaohu no way to follow up, but now you know they're low. 100 Thieves will drop this Herald on the bot side, knowing that they have the health advantage, but Yumi exists, and now Wei does
full
well.
combo.
TP.
Wei ready to go in. Flag drag over the wall to knock up the interrupt, stopping Closer from getting anything in exchange. Huhi now backing off. Tower still standing for now. Xiaohu here in the midst of everything. 100 Thieves forced to back away. Now spotted out in the brush as well. So difficult in these exchanges. Ming, despite the fact that he's not playing a traditional roaming support, has been everywhere on the map.
Yeah, teaming up with Wei, making sure he's around Gala and Xiaohu for these river fights. Abadage TP's back mid to get a plate despite losing his flash and his life earlier on. So it's just a pick here from Wei. I thought that on the bot side, Closer would find Gala with the EQ over the wall, but I think Gala has just enough distance on the minimap to actually run away. And then Abadage ends up falling, almost kills Wei. Xiaohu was a little bit close for a couple seconds, but has the damage take him out, uses the R2 to get out of tower range, and it's easy kills there for RNG. I think Gala actually used the Sivir ult on bot side to run away from Closer as he EQ'd over the wall.
Xiaohu, though, will be spotted on the ward, so just backing away, but that ward will die in a moment, so not at the end of the world that he didn't end up clearing it out, but you can see exactly what RNG's game plan is now. We've already helped out bot, we've got mid very much ahead. Let's see now if we can turn that into some advantages for Breathe as well. Rift Tower going to be open in minute 20. That, I feel like, is going to be the next game plan for RNG.
Certainly feels like it has to be. Dragon stacking, starting to feel more and more like something that 100 Thieves need to turn their attention to as a potential win con. Still very strong in the fights, lots of AoE CC that can be layered on top of each other, but with a 3-0 Akali, a Fiora who's very comfortably farming up on the top side. Certainly the side lanes are not going to get any easier for the side of 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves comp, the way the team fights will work is they're a death pool, right? They want to stay together as 5, have wards on flanks, make sure they're very aware of where Xiaohu and Breathe are finding angles to enter the fight. They need to lock them down so that this DPS of the Victor, Senna, Seraphine can just use all their spells in tandem on multiple different targets. RNG want to find those flanks to split 100 Thieves up. They need to make sure that around these dragons and these heralds, they stay together. 30 seconds on that herald split. spawn. Does 100 Thieves want to contest it? They could get first break on this bot tier 1 that's incredibly low.
I think RNG are doing the right game plan, though. They know exactly what you said, Cage. 100 Thieves want to group up as 5 and start to look for those fights. So what are they doing? Way's moving in topside. He's getting vision. They're looking for picks. They're trying to see if they can make a play before the Rift Herald spawns.
They will be able to secure this Herald. Huhi has the TP, but FBI's down on the bot side of the map. They're giving up the mid push here. Abbedagge actually zoned away from his own tower. Maybe Huhi has to invest a TP here to defend these waves, but he's going to push in the next bot wave. First tower over to them. Abbedagge should be able to hold on to this with Closer being around. Wei won't commit to the dive. No stopwatches on the jungle mid of the 100 Thieves lineup. Waves pushed in, Herald started up. RNG on this top side of the map.
Of course, Huhi on the bottom side, free license to push in another wave as they've spotted every single member of RNG at the map at this stage. But as you've highlighted, Herald feels like 100 Thieves don't have the tools necessary to contest this one. Huhi does, of course, have the TP, but not really a strong proposition at this point, as they do not have the vision control or the mid push.
A little bit of an awkward map state here because Dragon's spawning in 30 seconds. RNG have two options. Number one, go top, try to force dives, try to put a Herald down here, get this tower, move towards mid and secure 2 towers, or they could just go towards this Dragon spawning in 20 seconds, take bases, and use the Herald as a pressure point on that objective spawn.
And it's super hard to know what the right call is, right? Because you don't really want this Dragon stacking to continue for 100 Thieves.
No.
That's how they get to force fights. But you also are very aware that, honestly, the fact that you can have control over side lanes and get these towers down is the win condition.
Oh, here we go. Gala locked out, forcing the flash early is big. Of course, traded for the J4 ultimate. Closer still has his flash.
Yeah, 100 Thieves probably happy with that trade because they can try to get this mid wave in and they can be first to the objective. Xiaohu looking for those flanks. Wei looking for an angle as well. Jarvanult, relatively low cooldown, but they won't have enough time to wait out the ultimate as the Dragon has spawned. RNG want to force. Breathe has no TP. Someday does. So if RNG overcommit here, it could be a 5v4. There's plenty of TP wards for Someday, but he will lose his tower. It's a give and take here for 100 Thieves. Lose your top tower, get a Dragon. What's worth it? Someday trading onto Breathe.
Ooh, and some unlucky procs there in terms of RNG spawning right on the side of Someday as he does get chipped lower and lower, but has Gore Drinker, has ultimate. It's difficult for Breathe to go for the full dive, especially in the context of the 1v1. RNG continuing to step forward on the bot side. River looking to get control over this Infernal Drake. Not sure what the soul will be yet, but we know it will be crucial.
And it's a good call from RNG to try to spread 100 Thieves thin. Someday loses his health bar to Breed, so Someday's less effective if he TPs in. They got push on bot, they push in mid, forcing 100 Thieves to spread out on the map, which means you can't get the 5v5 rolling for 100 Thieves.
I actually like what 100 Thieves have done here because all 3 lanes are under so much pressure that going to this Dragon felt impossible. If they walked in, then maybe Xiaohu could take bot tier 1, Breed would take top tier 1, Gala's keeping these mid waves in. So there was a threat of losing multiple towers there. So 100 Thieves decide to hold on to them and just go even in the Dragons. So it's always good for them to keep me on scaling here on these champions like Victor and Seraphine.
And I'm curious now how RNG want to try and play this out with the Rift Herald, because it feels like Gala just insta-pushes mid because Sivir exists as a champion. So move Ming with Wei to topside, use Rift Herald there, crack open side lane turret, and then you can pretty much just continue to chip away at this mid turret as Gala, because you already know that you're going to be able to get that one with a single push once you commit members there.
It's interesting, isn't it? Look at the gold there. We just saw there briefly. Xiaohu, 3 kills, 0 deaths. Abbedagge, 1 kill. They're actually even in gold. If anything, Abbedagge is a little bit ahead. With the creeps, with the plates, with the first strike, matching the gold of this Akali.
And that is important, especially when we look at lane assignments. Once these tier 1s start to break, it'll be that much easier for RNG to throw Breathe or Xiaohu onto a side lane. And Abbedagge is really the one who suffers in that circumstance. We have to keep track as we get later. RNG with the Sivir, more than enough wave clear to stop any press pushes in the mid lane. You can see another little death ball here, 3 members strong, looking to hope and catch someone out from the side of RNG. Wei locked down the follow-up there. The damage not quite, though.
It's a bit awkward for 100 Thieves. You don't really want to have your Victor on a side lane in bot, so Xiaohu's going to start hitting this tower. Someday, though, is going to get that top tower. Still a healthy gold lead right now, 400 Thieves. They will lose this bot tower as Abbedagge goes down to collect the wave. We'll see if he gets her in time, actually. Wave's pretty small. The longer he can hold on to it, the more time he can buy, but he needs to be careful of Xiaohu finishing off the tower and then threatening a dive, but no W, no E means Xiaohu will back away. Might get it on the next couple of waves. Might even
Really
get it right
wants
now.
to finish
Abbedagge needs to be careful,
Gravity field now locking him down, throwing the ult, just staying in his own gravity field. Xiaohu happy to grab the tower for now, but Abbedagge still trading very positively. The E misses! The E misses, and that's everything. They're already pulling away, though. TP burned just to keep him healthy. Meanwhile, Renekton now going forward. Huhi and FBI holding strong in the mid lane, but Huhi's TP will not resolve, but Abbedagge still makes it out on the bottom side.
TP cancelled there by the Yuumi ult. I think Huhi's actually probably pretty happy about that because that means he can keep defending midway someday.
Ulti's traded.
So they're doing a good job of continuing to stop these backs from Breed. That's why he's got such a big health bar. He's managed to come in. Gala and Ming, though, en route.
Trying to run in. Breed trying to bait it out. The stun now coming through. Somebody needs to finish the kill. Someday, can he do it? Breed still standing. Someday! He cannot find the kill. Breed with the outplay.
It was so close. One more auto attack there for Someday. He did a very good job of baiting out the Fiora W, but the numbers come in from RNG to defend the play. Herald is all of a sudden in this top lane, so it will get the top tier 1. 100 Thieves don't have much options for a cross map, and as much as we praise Someday for that play, he gets caught off a little bit there, too aggressive.
Yeah, the Rifter was about to time out for Wei, so just chucks it down to the top side, knowing that they want to try and get the turret. Wei's already up here on this top end of the map as well, and with Gala situated mid, it makes it very hard for 100 Thieves to actually answer with any sort of pressure elsewhere. There's a TP from Breed to get back onto top side, and this is where RNG gets scariest, when they're allowed to play out these side lanes. And it looks like now with the top turret going down mid, very low for 100 Thieves, they need to find ways to force these fights around the dragons.
And in that last exchange, it was just Divine Sunderer for Breed. But now he's gone back, he's got the Tiamat, he's got the extra longsword, he's got the Bam Scepter, crashing a tower in as well. He's about to be 2 items, and that's where things get so very difficult for Someday. For so long, he had a bit of a sustained advantage in the 1v1, but that will all fade away very quickly.
Abbedagge on the side lane now catching these top waves. Xiaohu no TP, Breathe no TP. So TP advantage for 100 Thieves. We'll look at this one again because Someday ease forwards here and baits out the Fiora W. Then ease back in again. Actually flash W's the Fiora with the Rage. Gets the E2, but not enough damage. If there was no members here from RNG, he could drop the tower aggro by going downwards and then re-enter through top and look for Breathe. But Breathe would run away, but Someday wouldn't lose his life. But good move from RNG to help out their top laner, collapse in and get that kill.
Absolute game of inches. Looked like Divine Sunderer as well as the Grasp proc being that giant source of healing that kept Breathe alive. Tense 1v1, but of course they only gets harder for the Renekton as we get later and later to the game. We know what a scaling monster the Fiora can be. 100 Thieves again grouping up. Wei threatening like he can go in there.
They're sending Someday top with the TP to catch that wave, so they're waiting until that one's cleared before they fully want to try and commit to getting the likes of vision around this dragon. They have a good amount of vision in River at the moment, but would love to get that slightly deeper, especially if Xiaohu or Breathe are looking for these flank opportunities.
Gala 2 items, has the flash back up. We saw Closer trade his ult for flash a little bit earlier on in the game. That was when the second dragon was spawning. Now the third one's up. Gala's flash is available. Level 11 on the Yuumi, level 11 on the Sivir. Breathe grouping up, doesn't have the TP. Someday moving his way down towards this next mid wave.
Getting a bit of poke down onto Breathe. No CC though, so won't find the stun back in response. 100 Thieves grouping, but RNG priority control over the mid lane. Someday the only one left to clear that wave to try to hold on against this onslaught. Tower will fall. RNG, do they want to push for more here?
Yeah.
This is a really good call from RNG. I mean, second dragon for 100 Thieves doesn't mean a huge amount, but again, these towers are so important to the way this composition executes. So now you've got a very long lane that Gala can continue to shove in continuously. You've got access to get vision on both sides of the jungle. So RNG happy to trade that dragon for positioning on the map.
And we saw this in the CFO games, that when you start to fall behind with a composition that wants to function as a death ball in these fights, it just becomes harder and harder to force fights on your terms. RNG taking more and more of the map away from 100 Thieves. And if they group up like this, if they group up as 5, it's so easy for RNG to just do something away from the 5 stack.
Yeah, it's all about pressure points, playing on multiple lanes, threatening flanks. These are the things that 100 Thieves have to be very, very cautious of. In that case, they trade the towers for the dragon. See if that pays off in the long run. Cloud Soul not the greatest, but as many dragons as possible is what you want to look for. As much scaling as possible. 100 Thieves going to get this mid wave in. Topside vision put down to deny any kind of Baron start from RNG, which would be relatively slow, but the Sivir is building towards that Infinity Edge. That's the next break point for RNG.
Certainly is. Bui and FBI scaling pretty well thus far, but always feels impossible to match the Sivir Yuumi as we get later and later into the game, and the value of On the Hunt and disengaging or engaging some of these fights is closer. Taking a big chunk there, the Yuumi's getting stronger.
And this game just feels so tense at the moment. 100 Thieves, we know how much damage they can do, especially Abbedagge coming from that mid lane. If they can find the fight, they can turn this game fully back in their favor, but one slip up, RNG get another tower for themselves. It feels so hard to continue.
What I would love to see from 100 Thieves here is when Breed's showing bot and Xiao is catching top, just EQ ult onto the Sivir with Jarvan, get her flash, and then do it again on the next mid wave. Otherwise, Gala has so much confidence to step forwards. Breed looks like he might be in trouble here.
Closer on the way down. Waiting, trying to bait out Now wants to commit fully, has the ultimate, does a ton of damage here, but should just get caught out someday. Relatively low. Breathe now trying to heal back up. It will not be enough. The parry coming through, but he will get cut down. That's a pick, but already RNG in the mid lane looking to fire back.
Moving into top side, they'll get a little bit of vision down here. No top tier 1 to play for, and the wave is very far away from that tier 2. The ping's coming down from 100 Thieves. They realize and they recognize that all of them need to go back to base quickly so they can defend this tower.
You can see the pings coming through from 100 Thieves on a deep ward that they have as well, just at the back of the blue pit on RNG's side. So maybe they look for a super long flank to try and make that one work, but someday. Still pushing on bot side, now going to go back to base, but looks like RNG are going to back away, unsure of if they actually had anything behind them cleared out.
So we get a taste of how 100 Thieves deal with these side lanes. They commit 4 people to kill the Fiora, and in a case in 10 minutes time from now, RNG would be able to demolish the base if they had proper waves set up. This is quite early on. The waves weren't in the best of spots. The tier 2 mid was already down, so they had enough room and time to work with that pick, but they need to be very careful when they commit onto it.
What can he do here? Senna Shield now coming in, but there's still so much damage coming in. He's surviving for now. Stopwatch keeping him alive. Someday waiting over the wall. This is it. This is the 5v5. Abadage running into the backline, but he does so much damage. Xiaohu desperate to find the hill. Closer, so close to getting taken out. He needs to get out to safety, but again, his stopwatch keeping him healthy. Gala down, 100 Thieves holding on to hope. They've got so much sustain. The death ball is online, and they are descending upon RNG. Xiaohu running, Breathe running, parry will not be enough. Trying desperately to survive. Blasco now to safety, still standing, still running, but he's got no health. He's got no TP. He's got no time. What can 100 Thieves get with this?
Abadage can TP in, and a Faithfuls make some noise. They're going to get the mid-tier 1. Can they get the Baron as well? They don't have a jungler on the map, but that was so many summoners used by RNG. Absolutely everything, including teleports. And 100 Thieves won it. The stopwatchers were buying so much time.
And we said all it would take is one fight for 100 Thieves to get control of this game, where they can disrupt the tempo that RNG had built up, and that was it. Now they're the ones that can push out side lanes, get them to RNG side of the map, and in a minute's time, that third dragon is available for 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves have a game state here where they're playing triple TP, all up, triple global against the side lane comp of RNG with no globals. We'll take a look at this one again, because Huhi looks like he's caught out. Initially, Gala invests the spell shield to dodge away from the Seraphine ult. Stopwatch buys time, flashes away. Everyone then commits onto Closer, who then kites away with his flash. And guess what? He has too, a stopwatch as he gets over this wall, and Xiaohu tries to gap close. All the meanwhile, FBI, Abadage, and Huhi reposition and get the damage down onto Gala.
And this was so well executed the whole way through from 100 Thieves. As you said, dodging in, diving in, constantly resetting who's the focus from RNG side, and the fact that you managed to take so many of those key abilities like Xiaohu's ultimate on towards these stopwatch targets means that 100 Thieves can follow through. GA now completed for Closer. He can go ham in these fights to set up 100 Thieves.
Got a Hourglass coming in as well from Abadage. Makes it so much easier, and you can see their RNG overestimating their damage. They thought that they could one-shot Huhi. As we get later, that will become more and more deadly. That potential engage the Sivir as she gets more items, but for now, 100 Thieves pressing the fight, pressing the advantage. Small gold lead, but they need to get more.
100 Thieves will get the dragon. RNG will not contest. 2 big points to keep your eye on. Number 1, Gala has the Infinity Edge, just picked up from base. Xiaohu very close to that Rabadon's. Number 2, no flash on that Sivir. That means for the next 2 or 3 minutes, 100 Thieves should dominate this map. Gala cannot step up on these mid-waves. Triple TP, Jarvan ult, so much gap close. He will die, doesn't have any defensive tools, but RNG are going to wait out that flash, wait out the Rabadons on Xiaohu, wait out the level 16 as well, and then they will look for round 2, but round 1, baby, it goes to USA.
And you can see how slow 100 Thieves are playing this. They actually commit the jungler to mid to hold the push, and Someday, though, has spotted out that RNG wanted to try and cross that map this, wanted to try and trade for the top side, but now RNG have to run away because 100 Thieves, they're on the hunt.
Are they going to force Baron here? Are they going to try to collapse onto RNG? No tier 1 means that they have quite
Breathe
far
is
to run. Breathe is bot with no TP.
Teleport.
100 Thieves have a window to TP in the Renekton here and look for the Baron, but they're going to EQ out, not going to take any risks. The game is in their hands. 3 items on the Seraphine. Abadage has 3 items too. 100 Thieves slowing it down. They have soul point. Don't want to rush anything.
And 100 Thieves as 5 are terrifying. The amount of sustain, the amount of shielding, the damage over time, only continuing to stack in their favor. The threat that you've highlighted so many times is Gala. It's Xiaohu, Breathe if they can dive onto the back line, but Gala at the end of the day is the one who has to bring it home in terms of sustained DPS.
The Rabadon's death cap completed from Xiaohu, though, is massive. He is really taken over in that one-shot potential. And now you've got major threat onto FBI, on towards the AD carry for 100 Thieves. Still a little bit suspect because Abbedagge and Hui both have that Zhonya's Hourglass available, so that's a huge amount of targets, but he can be such a big difference maker here.
Let's not forget, if 100 Thieves win this, they stay alive in the group stage and they can fight for a tiebreaker. If RNG win, they are out. GEN.G is locked as well. This is a 100 Thieves roster that not many people had faith in after that first week. This roster's been together for 3 splits. They've made 3 finals, but so hard to have faith in them. But now up against RNG, they have a very good comp for 5v5s. They have control of the map up against the MSI champions. Are they going to look to force Baron, though? Breathe TP is back up.
And you can see what RNG are trying to do. Xiaohu moving down into that bot side with Breathe. They're trying to see if they can double commit to a lane, catch 100 Thieves with their pants down, but 100 Thieves are playing this slow, they're playing it right, and they're going to start the Baron.
There's no flanking ward. They have to go so deep to get flanking vision. 100 Thieves again pulling back. Blue Trinket used. Buys them so much time. Taking stock. Flash is just around the corner for so many. If they can find a pick, they can force the Baron. Prowling projectile will find one. The Luden's revealing that someone is in the brush.
That might have been the highest value Q I've ever seen from a Yuumi, spotting out all the members of 100 Thieves there. The vision behind 100 Thieves that's in the jungle is starting to die out for RNG, so they don't have any way to create these flanks now with that vision. So Xiaohu hiding off to the side, someday resetting, can TP in if 100 Thieves decide to go for a fight.
Big item spikes for RNG. Summoners back up. They're ready for a fight if they're presented with one, but it's very hard to find and engage. The Vi going in without stopwatch will get melted. 100 Thieves have so many defensive tools. The GA you talked about, but also the healing coming out of this lineup with the Senna. Seraphine flashes back up as well. Zhonya's on Abbedagge. It's really hard to just find that singular target for RNG. 100 Thieves, their main focus, their primary focus this entire game is keeping mid waves in, and if they can keep the mid push and Gala under this tier 2, they're always first to collapse to either side if RNG try to get aggressive onto Someday or Abbedagge.
100 Thieves, the last hope for North America, the team that's now taking a toe-to-toe against the MSI champions. They have the team fight. They're the ones in control. They just need to try and bring this home. 2 minutes until the Dragon, and that can be where they look for that big fight, where they look to shut RNG out of this game.
Cloud Soul would be really, really useful when it comes to using these ultimates on these mobile carries, that extra move speed to kite out the mobility of the RNG topside. Mid-wave contests coming in.
And so much wave clear with the Victor as well as the Seraphine to push these waves out, to leverage their man advantage, to get mid push, to start to fight for control of this Baron pit again. If you're on top side getting scarier and scarier, Xiaohu's still scary in the 1v1, the 2v2, the 3v3, but the 5v5 is all that the Thieves want.
I mean, but look at where the vision line is right now for RNG, right? You got it all across here, all across here. It's super defensive when you look towards where 100 Thieves are. They haven't been able to get any of that vision pushed up through into River. That's what they're trying to achieve now, and that's giving the opportunity for RNG to push in on bot side, get vision control, and now potentially look for the tier 2.
100 Thieves just saw Vi on their entrance towards Wolves. I'm surprised they didn't go for a Baron rush there. They were contemplating it, but decided to call off. They're threatening a Baron trade here for a Dragon. If RNG tried to deny the stun,
Breathe caught out the stun, locking him down. He leaps over the wall. He makes it out for now. Blast going out to safety. Now they have to force. TP available for Xiaohu. RNG, what are they willing to commit to stop this Wei? Looking for the steal. Wei coming around the corner. They have no vision in their own jungle. Their vision line's too pushed forward. Can Wei get the steal? Wei, can you take it away? No! Not today! 100 Thieves standing strong as the death ball. And Seraphine all now coming out. Gala locked, forced to flash away to safety. The back line of 100 Thieves still standing strong. Closer. The GA coming in. Wei descending, getting lower and lower and lower. Xiaohu burning all of his cooldowns. But 100 Thieves still standing. 100 Thieves so much healing. Xiaohu trying to make the play, but no! RNG! Weather the storm! RNG, no! Someday goes golden, but that's gotta be it. They gotta burn through the Renekton. They take him down. The Baron to 100 Thieves, but the fight to RNG.
Gala stands on so little HP. Xiaohu will take down the backline of 100 Thieves, and just like that, 100 Thieves are routed, and the LPL fans erupt.
It's a 4 for 2. They only have one Baron buff left on Hui. RNG will get the Dragon and deny the Soul. If Someday went down a little bit quicker there and didn't get that last kill at the end of the fight, maybe RNG could have done a lot more on the waves in 100 Thieves' base. Wei doesn't get the smite. Closer keeps his cool, but it's FBI that drops really quick into this fight as Wei singles him out. The Senna falls despite the flash backwards, so it's a 4v5 from the get-go. Gala's forced to flash out. Closer chases him and has the GA to buy
buy time next to the carries of RNG, so it's on 100 Thieves to get Breathe and way down as quick as possible, but they kite them out for so long. Abadage falls and they lose so much damage.
It's the fact that that ult from Fiora comes across for Xiaohu at the end of that. He manages to stay in the back line, manages to get the healing he needs to kill off the carries for 100 Thieves, and someday will buy some time at the end. But once more, Xiaohu 7-0 on this Akali. He's putting in heroic work for RNG.
Let's take stock of the game then. RNG deny the Dragon. Baron buff still on this Seraphine for a
10,000 damage? Are you kidding? He did more than his whole team combined.
Xiaohu, so often the facilitator for this team, the Lysandra. He'll play for his lanes, but this game, it is his time. It is his show someday. Has to be careful on the top side. No, Breathe, rather, as he has been caught out. Now has to run for the hills. The stun coming through. The rest of the team ready to follow up. Breathe, so incredibly mobile. 100 Thieves burning everything they can to take down this Fiora. Breathe will fall. 100 Thieves will find the pick, but already you can see RNG looking to make a play of their own, barreling down the mid lane. They want to break open the base of 100 Thieves.
100 Thieves are not recalling. Someday is going to drop it now, so they call off this base race. They were considering just running it down top and looking for this tier 2. But RNG barreling down mid. They will lose the inhibitor here. 100 Thieves for that pick. You can see that they're really cautious of these side lanes, trying to deny the Fiora with these 5-man ganks constantly closer. No, Wolf might need to be careful here.
Closer, they're going in and out of Abadage. They're trying to hear the fight in the end. All that matters is Gala, and Gala stands strong, trying to be zoned away. The Victor ultimate is not enough. Who he is here, but Gala still stands. Gala finally down. Now the Thieves. They can take the fight. They took out Gala away running. Xiaohu. Oh, he's made so many play happens, but it's too late. When Gala falls, the fight falls. And 100 Thieves moving in to clean up the pieces.
RNG thought they could take the fight. You could see the pings on Huhi, the question marks going, right, it's a 4v4, maybe we can do this, but the TP immediately back from Huhi means he's there, and RNG will be pushed back. How much can 100 Thieves get?
100 Thieves backs against the wall, facing elimination in the face, and right now they're putting up a hell of a fight. Tier 2 mid's gonna fall. RNG look for the turn on to Abadage, but the stopwatch buys so much time. And the game calms down for a brief moment. 2 minutes left on these next objectives. This is where RNG look to turn.
And this was so crucial. You could see the pings. They knew that Huhi wasn't there. They jump onto the Victor, but Gala, afraid to step forward, isn't able to finish off the Victor while he's CC'd. And this whole time, that Victor ult from Abadage is doing so much work on towards the Sivir. The only person with the DPS falls, and that's where 100 Thieves are able to turn this one around. But now you've got to look at the Dragon that's coming up momentarily. Wards were placed by RNG up mid lane as they started to reset. So you can just see them at the back here. 2 flank wards placed on the way out. And that's what they'll be looking to use now as we start to move in towards their next fight.
But take a breath, New York. Everyone at home. 1 minute and 40 seconds till either objective spawns. You'll have plenty to shout for. Both teams will have plenty to fight for. This is the calm before the storm. Both sides so close to victory. A single decisive team fight could end it either way. The Soul, for 100 Thieves, the Baron. They group now, trying to find a pit, desperate to get something before the next fight breaks out.
The dance begins with 1 minute on those objectives. 100 Thieves looks like they're sticking to the same game plan. If RNG want to go bot side and deny this Soul point, then they'll secure themselves a Baron once again. I don't think they'll want to cut it as close as they did last time, leaving it to a 50-50 closer one this time around. Mid-wave contest coming in, constant push here for 100 Thieves, keeping those wards in the lane, making sure they're aware of rotations. First decides to deny Breathe and Xiaohu any kind of push outs, but Xiaohu 8-0-0, level 18 Akali. Abadage, not sure how far he is away from that Rabadon's death cap, but when he picks that up, that's his final spike. GA still on cooldown here for someday. Stopwatch is picked up for the mid-bot side of 100 Thieves. Defensive items at the ready. Wei needs to find his target and be very careful not to run into a stopwatch and get turned straight on by the 100 Thieves lineup.
This is going to be a massive push-pull. Can 100 Thieves get on to Gala? Can they take out the Sivir? Or will Abadage fall first? As you say, massive amount of damage coming out from this Victor in the backline, and he will be the one that is providing a lot of the damage percent from 100 Thieves right now.
One more mid-wave will decide it all. 100 Thieves want to push in and go towards Nash. RNG want to push in and go towards Drake, but RNG cannot afford to give up this Baron. They need to be on their toes, need to be ready if 100 Thieves rush towards it. Someday has the TP ready. Will be matching Breathe on this bot side. The 4-man of 100 Thieves. Are they going to start it up? Yes, they are.
How does RNG respond? Baron getting burned down way in the vicinity.
Xiaohu off to the side. Xiaohu desperate to work his way to the back line. Baron already taken down 6K, it's getting lower. Are they gonna fight or are they gonna force it? It looks like they want the 50-50, it's getting lower and lower, way right into the back line, but now the Seraphine coming out, that's gonna connect on the Xiaohu, and that's clutch. But already Gala shredding through the front line, 100 Thieves. For now, the back line, 100 Thieves standing strong. Healing massive, coming in from wave. He's locked down for now, but Gala is still alive. Abba is still alive. Abadage cut down, and that should be the fight for 100 Thieves. FBI, it's a heroic effort, but it cannot be enough. Closer buying the space, Closer trying to buy time, but this is Gala's world, and we're all just living in it.
And that for RNG is the turnaround they needed. Abadage versus Gala, and Gala will stand tall as RNG move towards the base and guarantee the LPL another seed in playoffs.
Final moments, the final fight for 100 Thieves. They went toe-to-toe with one of the best in the world, but ultimately they fell just short. RNG take the fight.
Locked into quarters next to GEN.G. 100